Hey there, welcome to Craft Central Designs. Okay, as promised, I have for you a tutorial today demonstrating how to make a bow tree topper and bows for your Christmas tree branches. And I also included how to create spiraling ribbon tails to cascade down your Christmas tree. Welcome to all to my channel today. Please remember to subscribe if you are not currently. Give this video a thumbs up and leave me your comments. Let me know if you think this bow tutorial will be helpful to you in creating bows for your tree. Okay, let's get creating. Let's look at the materials that you will need to create your bow tree topper and your bows for your Christmas tree branches and your spiral tails as well. Very simply, you just need 2 different types of ribbon. That is if you want to make a mixed ribbon bow tree topper, which I would recommend that you do that just for visual interest. It's going to be much more impactful on the top of your tree if you do that. I like to create the base bow of my mixed ribbon bow with more of a solid color against the tree branches. I think that looks best. And then I put my print on top of that. I'm also going to add something fun into this bow, and you can do this or not do this, but I have this fluffy, beautiful mesh tubing that I got on craftcentraldesigns.com. By the way, those ribbons are from there as well. I believe you can also get that red one with the polka dot trim on Amazon, I believe. But craftcentraldesigns.com, they have the greatest ribbons, and they have that beautiful mesh tubing, which I've never seen anywhere else. Okay, so we're going to begin with some very long tails for your mixed ribbon bow that's going to go at the top of your tree. I'm going to suggest that you have at least 18 inches for a tail. Now, remember, this is going to cascade down your tree, so the longer the better, actually. So you're going to begin by pinching off that 18 inches and holding it in your hand in between your 2 fingers. Now, I'm going to create this base for my bow, and I'm going to make my loops larger, around 14 inches in length. Now, you can use a measuring tool to help you with this, or you can simply eyeball it. It's up to you. But what I'm going to do is, after I measure off that 14 inches like I just did there, I'm going to just fold that first loop over and transfer it to my other hand and place it underneath my fingers that I have right there in the center, my thumb and my index finger. And that's going to be the hand that holds everything while I construct the bow with my other hand. Now, I'm going to twist my ribbon, and I always do that because I need the good side of the ribbon facing up. So I have another 14 inches. I'm going to fold that over and pinch it in the center. Now I'm going to put it right underneath my thumb and my index finger of the hand that's holding everything, which for me is my left hand. Then I'm going to take my right hand and shove the rest of that piece of ribbon underneath my thumb and my index finger. Now I can check my loops to see if they're symmetrical by simply placing them up against one another. If you don't want to use a measuring tool, you can do this to help check yourself to make sure that your loops are relatively even. So I always think of my bow as having a left side and a right side and a midline, which I just pointed out there. So I have a loop on the left and I have a loop on the right. Now I wanted to create another one on the left side. So that would be the left of midline. 14 inches. I'm going to fold it over now. Remember to twist your ribbon so you always have the correct side up right before you get ready to fold over your loop. Now I'm going to take my fingers and I'm holding with my left, but pinching that ribbon with my right hand so that I can place it underneath my index finger and my thumb on the left hand. That's my holding hand. Okay, now I have 2 loops on the left and 1 on the right. So I want to now create another loop on the right side. So I twist my ribbon like that, so I have the right side facing up. Then I'm going to fold over that same 14 inches. Notice how I'm doing that with my right hand and holding with the left. Now I'm going to pinch it and place it underneath the thumb of my holding hand, scrunch it up. I use my right hand to help me do that. And I'm holding everything secure with my left hand. Okay, so now I want to create a third loop at the same 14 inches on the left side. Fold it over, put it underneath my thumb, and scrunch it up with my right hand. Now my right hand assists me in holding everything secure and placing it properly with my left hand. See how my left hand is always holding everything together, but I use my right hand to create my loops, just like that. Twist the ribbon. I'm going to fold over 14 inches and create that third loop on the right side. Pinch it up, shove it underneath my thumb on my holding hand on my left hand. Now take my right hand, scrunch it up with my fingertips. Still holding with my left hand and utilizing my right to create the loops. Now, if you're left-handed, you just do it the opposite way. Whatever feels right to you, but this is the basic technique. I'm going to take a half of a pipe cleaner at this point because I've got my three loops on the left. Oops, can't talk. 3 loops on the left and my 3 loops on the right. So now I want to wrap a half a pipe cleaner around there. Nice and tight. And this is going to take over for my index finger and my thumb on my left hand. It's going to hold everything nice and secure. Now I'm going to bring the tail, the other tail of my bow, the one that's still attached to the spool, and just cut that off. So now I have basically the same 18-inch tail. Now just marry those 2 tails up on the bottom, and I'm sure I'm going to be angling my tails on these ribbons. Now, if you want to dovetail, you can. I just like the look of an angled tail. So I have my base bow now with 18-inch tails, 3 loops on each side of the midline. I use my left hand as my holding hand, and my right hand did most of the work with folding over my loops, helping to pinch them underneath my index finger and thumb of my left hand. You know, it's obviously it's a two-handed job, as you can see. Okay, so I have my base bow. Now, I want to put some kind of contrasting bow on the top. I usually pick a print and something a little more subtle or more plain on the bottom, something with a nice solid color. So this is a gingerbread ribbon because this is going to be for a gingerbread tree. So I'm going to make the loops a little bit smaller, around 12 inches. I've already pinched off an 18-inch tail. Now I'm going to do the same thing. Pinch it up, and I'm going to hold everything on the left side with my left hand. Thumb and my index finger holding everything down. Twist my ribbon. I'm going to fold over the same 12 inches on the right side. So I'm basically creating the same type of bow. I'm going to put 3 of those 12-inch loops on each side, or 6 loops altogether. Twist my ribbon, Fold it over. Now, when you get more experience doing this, you can just eyeball it, or you can eyeball it from the get-go when you start learning how to do this, and just measure it up against your other loops. Once you've established the size of your first loop, you can just do that. You don't have to measure it out every time. So now I have 2 loops on each side. I'm going to twist my ribbon on the the right side, and I'm going to fold that over and pinch it right underneath. Now I'm holding everything with my left and shaping everything with my right. Going back over to the left side again. Now I'm doing 3 loops on each side, as I mentioned. So I'm going over to the left side. You notice my hand is like the dividing line. It's like the midline of the bow. Pinch it on the left side, using my right hand to pinch it under and place it underneath my thumb and my index finger so I can hold that nice and secure with my holding hand. Okay, now I'm going to go to the right side again, holding everything with my left. What do we want to do here now? We want to twist our ribbon. Always need that right side up, facing up. Okay, fold it over the same 12 inches, pinch it in the center. So now I have 3 loops on each side. Now I'm going to do something a little bit different here because I want to fill in that bow as much as possible. So I'm going to add a single loop on each side. So I'm going to twist my ribbon, and just like I created the bows on the left, I'm going to create 1 single loop, a little bit smaller, this time around 10 inches. And I'm going to fold it over, and that single loop is going to rest right on the 3 loops on each side. So I fold it over about 10 inches, shove it underneath my thumb, just like I've done with all the other loops. Let my right hand help me in that process. And now you can see I have 3 loops on one side and 1 single loop resting right on top of the 3 loops. I hope this doesn't seem confusing because actually it's really simple. If you just watch the tutorial a couple of times and then practice doing it with me with a piece of spare ribbon that you don't care about. And that way, if you ruin it, you're not going to feel, adversely about it. So that's what you need to do. Just practice. Okay, so I folded over my single loop, and it's resting on the right side on my 3 loops. Now I'm going to put a full-size pipe cleaner around all of those loops, and I'm going to twist it in the back. And I need the full-size one because now I'm going to do one more little thing here that I need that extra pipe cleaner for. I'm going to create a single loop that goes right down the center. Now, if you know me well, you know that I always fill in something in the center. And so that's what we're going to do here. I'm going to twist my ribbon and fold it over and create 1 center loop that I want to say is around maybe 6 inches. And that's going to sit right in the center. So I just fold my ribbon under. I place it between my 2 fingers and I roll it under. Essentially, that's what I'm doing. I'm rolling it under. I'm going to show you there. Roll it under. Then I take my thumb of my holding hand and I place it right down on top of that roll, but underneath the loop, right there. Then I'm going to take my right hand and scrunch it up. And I've just created 1 single loop going right down the center of my bow. Now, again, this is a little bit more advanced, but if you want a beautiful tree topper bow, you're going to have to, learn to make your bow look a little bit more creative, if you will. So this is very doable. You just have to practice. And I'd suggest, again, get some spare wired ribbon that you don't really care about. After you watch this a couple times, then sit down, do it with me as I do it. I'm doing this very slowly. Nothing is sped up today. I'm doing it so that you can follow along with me. So I have my 3 loops on each side for the base. Then I put the 1 single loop resting right on top of the 3 loops. Then I formed 1 single loop to go right down the center. Now I need to cut off my ribbon from this spool, so I cut it off at 18 inches. Now I have this one tail that's on top of the bow, and I need to get it to be placed on the bottom. So I give a little gentle fold to the ribbon, and I poke it right through the center loop. And now it's married up with the loop on the bottom. Or I'm sorry, on the tail of the tail on the bottom. Okay, you can see now that we have a very full, very pretty, nice looking, attractive bow that's going to sit right on top of the red with the polka dots that we just created for our base bow. I angle my tails, and that is going to sit right on top of there very beautifully. And it's got colors and color difference and textures and shape, and it's absolutely beautiful. But I'm going to do one more thing. Now you can do this or not do this, but I really like to do a very dramatic tree topper. So aside from using picks, which I'll show you how I do that at some point in time, probably when I'm decorating the tree at the Quantum House, but I like to use a lot of fun picks poking out from my bow and poking up at the top of the tree. But I'm going to use this gorgeous mesh tubing, and I have about maybe a 16-inch tail. And I'm going to make my loops, I want to say around 14 inches. And I'm just going to make a loopy bow. Now, this is very easy to do. Just eyeball your loops or use the measuring tool. And I want to create 3 loops on each side. And it's so simple. Watch how I do this. I just fold over the loop, pinch it with my holding hand again, my thumb and my index finger, and I form it with my right. See how I do that? 3 loops on each side. Now what I'm going to do is sandwich that mesh tubing bow in between my gingerbread ribbon and my red ribbon with the polka dots. And this is going to be a very visually interesting bow. In addition to that, I have a lot of picks. I like to purchase picks especially at Hobby Lobby. And I like to poke them into the branches of my tree. I do not have to incorporate them into my bow to have an effect that they are a part of the bow. And I'll explain more about that when I actually place them on the tree. But I love anything spirally, if that makes sense. And I don't even know if that's a word. But I like to use picks like that, so it looks like they're popping out of the bow. And this is such a dramatic, fun, beautiful look. But you've got to have your bow for your base. Now, for a tree topper, you're going to create 2 of these bows. And I'm going to show you how you will connect them to the branch that pokes up out of the top of the tree. So I'm going to go ahead and trim down my pipe cleaner tails because I'm going to now apply all of those bows together with one long full-size pipe cleaner. So I'm going to start stacking And the red is obviously going to be on the bottom. And again, I think this is best for if you place a nice solid color, something really eye-catching, if you will, against your tree branches. I think that looks best. That's just my recommendation. You do, whatever you like. So I'm opening up my loops to receive the next layer. The next layer is going to be my mesh tubing. Now, like I said, if you don't want to do this, feel free not to do it. Maybe you just want the ribbon. That's fine. I just like the loopy look of this mesh tubing. It's very, very pretty mesh tubing. Now, could you use mesh tubing from the Dollar Tree? Yes, you could. It's just, it's a smaller mesh tubing. It doesn't have the fluffy kind of, this mesh tubing has almost like a snowdrift effect to it, like Deco Mesh can have. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's also a fuller tubing, so you're getting more of a dramatic look, but you could use Dollar Tree mesh tubing. It's just a little bit of a different look to it. So I have all of those bows and the mesh tubing placed together. I match up my centers very well, as you saw me doing there. Press them together very firmly, and then I put a full-size pipe cleaner right through the center loop. Bring it around the back. Now I want my pipe cleaner tails to be as even as possible. And the reason why is because this is the way I'm going to attach it to that tree branch that pokes up straight out of the center of the Christmas tree. Now, this could be true if you have a live tree or an artificial tree, but especially if you have an artificial tree. Any Christmas tree is going to have that center stem poking up. But if you have an artificial tree, you can really manipulate it to poke up just the way you want it. That's the beauty of an artificial tree, which I like for sculpting purposes, so that I can, shape it exactly the way I want it, manipulate the branches exactly the way I want them. Okay, everything's connected. Now I need 2 of those. In order to do a tree topper, you want your tree to look good from different sides. If you use a full tree topper bow like this, I'll show you how you can create a continuous bow going all the way around the top of your tree. Now, I don't have a Christmas tree up just yet, but I figured out a way to show you how to do this without having a Christmas tree. So that's coming up here in just a second. But here's my bow, and it looks very pretty. And take 2 of them, and it's double pretty. Okay, so let me show you how I'm going to connect these bows to the tree. Okay, so I had this idea. This is a paper towel holder, but imagine that it is the treetop, that branch that pokes up right out of the center of the top of the tree. And I'm showing you here, you're going to have one bow on one side, one on the other. How am I going to do that? Very simply. I'm going to take those pipe cleaners that I spoke of with the long tails, and I'm going to wrap it around, let's just say, the tree stem a few times, nice and secure. Pull it up close. Pull it up close and tight, and twist your pipe cleaners. Okay, now I'm going to take another bow and do the same thing. I'm going to put it right next to, either on top of or below. Doesn't matter. It's going to still be in the same place. Okay, here comes bow number 2. Now I'm going to take my pipe cleaner tails again, and I'm going to wrap them around my the dowel of my paper towel holder. But in other words, the tree stem, and I'm going to wrap it around Stick my fingers up in there, pull it tight up against that tree stem, let's call it. Nice and tight, just like I did the other one. Now look what's happening here. When you put two big bows together, you're going to have a lot of loops that you can manipulate and place so that it fills in the spaces continuously around the top of the Christmas tree. And I promise you, you could put that Christmas tree in the middle of the room and you'll never see the top of the tree stem. Trust me, this is the way to do it. I've been doing it like this for years. It works out beautifully. So all you do once you have it on your tree is then start filling in with your loops, opening up your loops, shaping them, getting them just the way you want them to sit at the top of the tree. And it's that easy to do. Now, all those cascading ribbon tails, you can leave them straight if you like. I angled the end of my tails. Or you can curl them. Now, you can use a paper towel holder. I find that that's the perfect diameter. This is from a mesh tubing roll. You could use that. But I'm just using a roll of, I don't know, something that I had, which is the same diameter as a paper towel roll. And you just roll it around, squeeze it with your hands. This is wired ribbon, so it's going to work. And then just give it a little pull, and now you have spiraled ribbons. Now you could do that with all of the ribbons coming down from your bow. And that tree topper is going to be absolutely beautiful. If you just practice, follow my instruction, and do it with me, do a little bit of a practice with a piece of ribbon. Okay, now let's say you want additional cascading ribbons. Maybe you want additional coiled up cascading ribbons. That's easy to do. I like to take a nice long piece and fold it in half. So I usually do 18 inches and then 18 inches. And then I add a little bit more onto that. But you could do it as long or as short as you like. If you want them really long, do a long piece of ribbon, fold it in half, and you're going to pinch it right at the place where you folded it in half, just like that. Then I'm going to take a full-size pipe cleaner, wrap it around that area where I pinched. Now, again, you can make these as long or as short as you like. You kind of trial and error to decide how long you want them. But if you do them and fold them in half in a nice long piece, then you'll have two coiled up cascading ribbons instead of just one. But if you want just one, that's fine. You could do that as well. But I think this one works very well. So I'm going to angle my tails. And now I have a method to attach those cascading coiled ribbons down my tree. So I'm just going to coil up my ribbons because I do like them coiled up. But not to say that you can't just keep them straight. That's completely a personal preference. So you can use your paper towel holder or whatever kind of roll you have to roll them up. And that's how you create cascading coiled up ribbons down your Christmas tree. I generally like to have more than I have when I created the bow. So I always seem to be adding coiled up cascading ribbons to go down the tree. By the time you address all sides of it, you end up, needing a few extra coils to go all the way around the tree. And it's as easy as that. So easy to do, and you can choose whatever type of ribbon you like. Okay, so those, when I insert those coiled up cascading tails, I always stick them up underneath the bow and let them just begin. At that point, I just lift my bow loops, attach it to a tree branch, and just let them flow down. Okay, so now I'm going to create just some very simple Christmas tree branch bows. Now, you don't have to get elaborate with this. A simple Christmas tree bow with a beautiful print and pretty color can add so much to your tree. I can't even imagine creating a Christmas tree without bows. It just does not happen in my world. I just have to do it. So I'm going to create a simple bow, so simple, in the same technique. I don't use a long tail, only about 8 inches. I fold over my loops around 10 inches. I'm just going to create simply a 4-loop bow. Again, the left hand is my holding hand. The right hand is what I manipulate my ribbon and fold over my loops. Folding it over on the left side, left of midline, around 10 inches. Pinch, use my right hand to form my loop, and hold it with the left. If I need to, I just place my ribbons up against one another to see if my bow loops are symmetrical. They don't have to be perfect. This is at the point where I would suggest that you start learning to create bows. Before you do the tree topper, I would go for just a simple bow to place on tree branches. And this will get you started in that very simple process. And I promise you, once you get started doing it, you'll realize it is not that difficult. I'm going to take a full-size bow, a full-size pipe cleaner, and place it around and even up my tails in the back. Twist my pipe cleaners. So now I have my midline where my hand is. I have 2 loops on each side. Now, one thing I want to do is finish off the center. I really think it's necessary to do that, to finish off the bow. So I twist my ribbon, and I'm going to create one single loop going right down the center. My loops are going to be around 6 inches, maybe a little less. I'm just going to roll it under with my fingers. Again, just show you right there. Just roll it under. Push it up underneath the thumb of my left hand, which is my holding hand. Scrunch it up with my right hand, which is the hand that I use to form my loops and do my scrunching. Okay, now take a pipe cleaner from around the back. Remember, I used a full-size one. Pull it through the center loop. This is how I secure that loop, and it's all ready to go and attached. Twist my ribbon in the back, and it's that simple. Again, play it again and again, however many times you need to. There's nothing like a bow making skill. Now, could you do this on an easy bow maker? Yes, you could. You could. You could use a bow dabra. Either or. You're still basically putting the bow together in the same manner, but you're allowing your dowels or the little, I don't know what you call them, pieces on the bow dabra that holds your ribbon. You could try doing that and just constructing it with the same basic principle, with the loops, with the center loop. And you can also, use pipe cleaners to do that. So now, to fluff out your bows, how do you do that? How do you get a nice shape? Well, you're going to do that by simply pressing your fingers inside the bow and then opening up and fanning out your fingers. Remember, you have wired ribbon. This is how you're going to shape all of your loops. Now, your pipe cleaners, that's how you're going to attach them to your tree branch. Whether it's a live tree or an artificial tree, this works phenomenally. And there you have a tree branch bow. Now, how many do you put on your tree? Obviously, that's determined by you and how many you like and how big your tree is. You can also make smaller bows. For a really small tree, you can make 1.5-inch ribbon with bows in the same manner, exactly the same, but just smaller, using a 1.5-inch instead of a 2.5-inch ribbon. And this is it, your bow topper, your additional cascading, coiling ribbons going down your tree, and a simple tree branch bow. Okay, until next time, you all take care.